What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, another interesting video for you here on the channel. Today is my card predictions for WrestleMania 42. We are 11 months away from WrestleMania 42. I just want to have an update on what my card predictions is so I can go back and look. I think ultimately I will be really far off. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel very fraudulent making this video. There is so many things they could do after WrestleMania 41. Maybe I'm scarred from truly picking the obvious ones, where I thought Randy and Cody, Rock and Roman. I believe that there's a lot of things up for grabs, but these are my predictions. These are what I thought in my head, and I'll tell you how we get there, how I could see it. But I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of question marks in my opinion, and I really do believe that more than likely, I'll not get a lot of these right. So yeah, we're going to go through and talk about it. I'm leaving so many people off. We have 15 predictions here. I'm trying to think of who I already left off that I can remember. Julia was one that it was really hard for me to find something for her left off. Did I ultimately take off Io Sky? I think I ultimately did. Which I don't think that would be real. So that automatically makes me think something wrong, but I'll tell you why I did it. Logan Paul, I think I didn't add on here, even though I think he'll be here. You already know there's going to be some, AAA stuff. So I didn't add anybody there, which I kind of regret. There's somebody I wanted to add in another match. So yeah, let's kind of talk about it. I don't even remember what's the order of this. I do remember it's grudge matches to championships. So let's get started with Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser. Okay, so here's my thought on this. I ultimately think that Gunther is going to be in a feud for a little bit. He's going to have the Goldberg stuff. He's going to try and go for championship stuff. Not going to work. He's going to have a feud, and then he's going to come back to the picture after WrestleMania 42. So a thought in my head was, okay, Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov. Well, let's be honest here. I think that's another person I left off, Ilya Dragunov, which he will be a part of this card. Here's what my thought process is. Gunther versus Ilya does make sense, but from a storyline perspective, which WWE, in my opinion, will look more into, Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser makes a little bit more sense. They haven't really done anything with them. They can talk about how they're a little separated right now. I ultimately believe that Gunther and Ludwig could split off and have their little solo careers to really help them and elevate them. I really do believe that Ludwig Kaiser could easily go more solo than just be in the background right now. It's hard for me to say this, but I really do believe that Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser will be more likely than Ilya Dragunov, just because story perspective, Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser makes a lot of sense for a WrestleMania match. Up next, we have Braun Breaker versus either LA Knight or Drew McIntyre. So there's another prediction, I think, that has a slash. So here's what I'm thinking. I know everyone wants to say WrestleMania, Braun Breaker is going to win the Royal Rumble. Totally understand. Totally get why. Honestly, one of my predictions before. But I keep going back and forth on this. I think they're going to keep Braun Breaker with Seth Rollins for a while. Now, can we see WrestleMania 43, the turn off of that? SummerSlam, I could really see SummerSlam of the Minnesota one. But ultimately, I believe, truthfully, that Braun Breaker versus LA Knight / Drew McIntyre will be, in my opinion, the match for Braun Breaker. I think that Braun Breaker needs a huge feud and huge person to go against at WrestleMania 42 that is not LA Knight and Drew, or not Seth Rollins for the championship. I think breaking up that faction a little too early will kind of hurt it. Maybe it's Braun Breaker versus whoever's the third member in there, which actually, now thinking about that, maybe it's Braun Breaker versus Logan Paul, and Logan Paul is the third member. I think I should have gone that route. I didn't, ultimately. Maybe it's Drew McIntyre, so then it's Braun Breaker versus Drew McIntyre. I ultimately believe that we're going to get Braun Breaker to go. He's going to be in the main event scene 2026. But yeah, LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre is the pick here. I also thought maybe Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu. I think Braun Breaker and Drew McIntyre is probably the pick here. I like that as the pick here. Up next, we have Finn Balor versus Ricky Saints. So, I believe Ricky Saints will probably debut at the Royal Rumble for the main roster, be a part of the main roster, going all the way to WrestleMania, going to New Orleans as a WrestleMania opponent. Who does he go against? So ultimately, Finn Balor will probably stay heel for a while. I hope they reinvent Finn Balor. I hope he gets a title reign in the middle. So I expect Finn Balor versus Ricky Saints to be a big match and a big matchup. I just think Ricky Saints goes against someone. I don't know who. I was debating Aleister Black. I was debating Ilya Dragunov. Rusev was another one. And there was one more. I think Jeff Cobb. Which Jeff Cobb I really like. I think I should have picked Jeff Cobb. But again, all just hypothetical here. I'm going to get a lot of these wrong. Up next, we have championship for the tag team. Fraxium versus New Day versus Motor City Machine Guns versus Lucha Bros. And I almost took out... I almost added Hardy Boys. I was originally going to. I think I saw something about that their contract isn't ending for a little bit, so ultimately I didn't. But I still believe Hardy Boys could definitely be a part of this. I think Fraxium will get a championship here soon for WWE. I think then ultimately we get Fraxium to go against this legendary tag team match to certify themselves as a legendary tag team and probably win against all of these guys. Or you have Lucha Bros winning it, or Mercy Machine Guns, or maybe the Hardys. That could be a really good, fun choice to do. But I wanted a big tag match with Legendary, with the past and present of tag teams. Up next, we have Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn. Okay, so not championship matches now. That's what it was. I had the Usos in the tag team match, but then I ultimately took them out because Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn was the pick here for me. Now, do I necessarily believe this will go all the way to WrestleMania? Maybe not. Maybe it could be something else. I just believe that Sami Zayn has some potential heel things that he could do, and I could really see him going more heel. But that's a big question mark. I think it could be the next big thing for Jey Uso, so then you put Jey Uso back in the title reign afterwards, or Sami Zayn in the title reign. But there's a lot of things you could do with Sami Zayn. He could win the Royal Rumble, go against Seth Rollins. You could have Jey Uso, Sami Zayn for a championship match, and ultimately a grudge match later on. I just have this here because I think Jey Uso's reign will fall short, and then I think Sami Zayn could be a cause of that, or Jey Uso start crashing out on Sami Zayn. Up next, Liv Morgan versus Mariah May. Now, I am heavily putting a lot of chips into Mariah May right now. If you don't know who Mariah May is, AEW star. Her contract ends end of 2025, supposedly was summer, but now it says end. Not happy with AEW, we've heard, because of how the championship reign ended with her. Ultimately, always wanted to be a part of WWE was the rumor, and AEW officials, WWE officials think they will sign Mariah May. I think a push of Mariah May will happen when she signs with WWE, if she will. And if she does, then I ultimately believe you give her a great feud to really push her over. Liv Morgan versus Mariah May is like the two it girls to really go against each other. I really see it as a huge possibility to happen. Then, obviously, Mariah May might win this match, and then I think could win Money in the Bank to really push her up to the tier. That's what I think. I think Mariah May is a good choice to pick here. I love it. I love this decision, and I hope this is the decision. Up next, we have Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Bayley. No title. Now, the reason why they don't have a title is because I'm really dying on a hill with one of my predictions. If that doesn't happen, I do see a title coming in here. I also see Becky Lynch and Bayley being part of a huge triple threat for the IC title. So that's why I'm kind of iffy on rerunning it. Maybe they add Alexa Bliss here, and then it's a really crazy fatal four-way of the past and present, but this is for the horsewomen, so you kind of want that there. I predicted this before. I think it could be a really good grudge match, and It could be just like the Roman, Seth, and Punk, where people are like, I don't really like it, but then we have some crazy ass shenanigans, and now it's a really good match. Could be the same way, and this is a huge, huge WrestleMania match. Up next, we have Drew McIntyre / Jacob Fatu champion versus Randy Orton. So here's what I'm thinking. I think Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu was originally my match for WrestleMania, but they're kind of running it pretty early to say right now it should be WrestleMania. Could be SummerSlam. I could really see it SummerSlam if they don't go solo versus Jacob Fatu. But ultimately, I do believe that Drew McIntyre is either going to win the U.S. title and lose it again to Jacob Fatu, or win it at WrestleMania, or have the U.S. title. Now, I have Randy Orton here because I don't know who he should go against. I thought maybe Karrion Kross, Aleister Black. Rusev could be a decent one now that he's a little bit built up. Jeff Cobb could be a decent one as well. But ultimately, I do believe that he should go for a title at WrestleMania. U.S. title kind of hurts him a little bit if you think so, but I still believe it ups this mid-card division that you really want with the U.S. title. Having Randy Orton go after it would be really nice, and we kind of really want to see Jacob Fatu versus Randy Orton, or Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for a title. I would love it, and I want something good with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 42. Up next, we have Bronson Reed, champion, versus Sheamus, versus Dominic Mysterio, versus Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso was added because the Usos were not a part of WrestleMania. I'm not going to take away Jimmy Uso away from WrestleMania. I ultimately believe that Bronson Reed will be a IC title holder in 2025. Now, because of that, what is the mid-card division of the IC title going to look like at WrestleMania? I thought maybe Bronson Reed versus Sheamus. This is another fatal four-way for the IC title, I just realized. So maybe it's not. I want a ladder match. I wanted originally a ladder match. I was going to add Ilya and Logan Paul here. Didn't. Bronson Reed and Sheamus should happen at WrestleMania. I know we've seen it before, but this is both two different people. Add Dominic Mysterio in, because I think he's still going to be flying around the mid-card title for a little bit, maybe 2026 Money in the Bank winner. And then you have Jimmy Uso here, because I think he's still going to be on his grind to win a mid-card title. This could be where Jimmy Uso wins the big one, so he's just there with his brother. But ultimately, I like this match because of Bronson Reed and Sheamus. I think you can add whoever else after that. I just threw in Dominic Mysterio and Jimmy Uso. I could really see like Rusev, Jeff Cobb. I'm really high on Jeff Cobb, so we'll see on this one. Up next, Naomi, champion, versus Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky. Okay, so I did add Io Sky. Now listen, you might say, what championship is this? It could be a US title or IC title. I ultimately thought mid one. But here's the thing that I keep going back and forth. This is where I think the predictions, if one thing changes, everything's crumbled. Everything's crumbled. Naomi is one of my favorites to win Money in the Bank. If she wins Money in the Bank, I don't see her having the title for forever. So I guess it could happen, and then she goes for a mid-card title instead. I think they're going to really push Stephanie Vaquer the minute she enters Royal Rumble or next year. I think it's either winning the Royal Rumble, I think it's Money in the Bank, whatever it might be, I believe it's going to be a huge push. Now, does she win? Does she go against a mid-card title? Does she go for something else? I don't know. Do they do Stephanie and Io Sky for actually the championship because that's what it actually mattered? I could really see it. But I wanted Naomi here, and I debated Jordynne Grace for a while. Didn't happen. I debated Io Sky. Now, the reason why this feels like a throw match, which it kind of is because I think Naomi should be a mid-card champion. I kept debating who. I really like Jordynne Grace as the pick, but Stephanie Vaquer was then my next one. But because I changed something with the other mid-card title, I threw in Io Sky here, so we still have Stephanie, Io, and Naomi here. And it makes more sense to have this on IC because Stephanie and Io is here. But the way that the next person gets the title is with the IC, so it's hard to say for this for the US or that for the US, but you don't understand it. You're going to hear soon. Next. Okay, so this is my thought process. Becky Lynch wins the title. Roxanne wins the next off of Becky Lynch. So then we have Roxanne versus Alexa Bliss. Now, we could go to the US title and we could have Zelina Vega Roxanne, Alexa, Roxanne. That also makes sense. That's why I think you could say Naomi for the IC title. Fine with that. But I think Naomi would be really good to win against Zelina Vega. Makes a lot of sense. And Becky would have to lose to somebody else, I would say. And then Naomi would win. Maybe Jade Cargill. And then Naomi wins. That would be kind of crazy. But then again, I also thought Alexa Bliss winning the U.S. title made a lot of sense, or the IC title from Becky Lynch, so maybe she should be champion. But this was my match. This is a match I really liked, and I changed it up because originally it was Bliss versus Naomi. Now you say, why did you change it up? I had Roxanne versus Io Sky. They are kind of running that right now. So does it make a lot of sense to have Roxanne versus Io Sky at WrestleMania? Maybe not. So I have Roxanne versus Alexa Bliss here. And I love this match. This is a match that I really do believe could be a big possibility. But then again, crazy predictions. Stuff can change in an instant. Okay, next. My first WWE Championship match. Tiffany Stratton versus Rhea Ripley. So I think the biggest crazy prediction out of this is saying Tiffany Stratton still has the championship. I do expect her to lose it and then win it back again. To ultimately have a big WrestleMania match. Because I don't know what else she could do if WrestleMania she loses it. I could see her getting cashed in on from Naomi. Tiffany Stratton winning it back from Naomi or winning it from somebody else who's more of a transitional champ. I just have to believe in my head that Tiffany Stratton versus Rhea Ripley is a match that will happen at some point and should happen at WrestleMania. I think Rhea Ripley on Raw has not been great for a lot of the fans, where it feels like she's just going through Io Sky, going through all these people. I think ultimately you keep Io Sky on Raw. You have Roxanne, Julia, throw in Nia Jax, maybe somebody else. Keep Bayley there. I'm trying to think. Throw Naomi on Raw. I would really like that. And then you ultimately have Tiffany Stratton stay on SmackDown with Rhea Ripley going to SmackDown. And I think Stratton versus Rhea Ripley is a match they kind of hinted towards last year. And I think it's a really, really money match with two of your young stars going against each other. Rhea Ripley wins Elimination Chamber. I don't think she would win the Royal Rumble. I don't like her winning the Royal Rumble here. But this is a match that I want to see and I think could be a huge WrestleMania match. Now, the reason why this is the match that I am very much like heavy on winning or happening. So that's why it's like, ooh, could this actually happen? I could see Tiffany Stratton going into that triple threat I said earlier with Becky and all of them. That's the championship match. So then one of them wins it. I could see Rhea going against Bianca Belair. I could see Rhea going against Stephanie Vauquer. I could see all this stuff. Ultimately, this is where I'm going at, and it changes a little bit of what I'm about to say next, which is my World Heavyweight Championship match. So I could see a world where Naomi cashes in on Io Sky rather than Tiffany Stratton if she would win, and then Bianca Belair beating Naomi, and then we either have the triple threat at WrestleMania or Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill, with Jade Cargill winning Elimination Chamber. That is kind of where I'm going. Or Jade Cargill a champion and Bianca Belair wins Royal Rumble or EC, whatever it might be. Bars. I think Bianca Belair needs a title run soon. I really do. I think she's too good to not have a title run. She's, in my opinion, one of, if not the best women's wrestler on the roster. Maybe not, I wouldn't say best. I like Io Sky a lot, but one of. I love her mic skills. I love everything about Bianca Belair. One of my favorite women's wrestlers by far. So then you add Bianca Belair, the Jade Cargill match that we already know is going to happen at some point. That's a WrestleMania match in my opinion. And I ultimately believe should happen at WrestleMania. So then you have champion Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill, with Jade Cargill winning at WrestleMania. And a Royal Rumble win under Jade Cargill's belt would really help the momentum. That's what I'm believing. That's what I feel right now. Obviously, so much stuff could change that could automatically make this not happen. Next, I think we're my men's matches. I'm trying to remember what I said. Oh, these are my two main events. I think these are going to be the two main events. I think the women's could, if it's Tiffany Stratton, part of that triple threat. But these are my two main events. Let's go with night one. Ultimately, I believe Seth Rollins will be champion. Now, is it Jey Uso to Seth? Is it Jey Uso somebody else, Seth? I could see that. I could see Drew having the championship, then Seth Rollins winning it from Drew, to have Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, with Roman Reigns probably winning the Royal Rumble. Now, here's why. I think they need to give this championship back to Seth Rollins. I really like what Jey Uso's doing. Seth Rollins is just carrying Raw at this point right now. I know you could do Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. I think ultimately where you should go is Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And this is a Mania match by far. Championship on the line. Roman versus Seth in an actual WrestleMania match. Love it. You have Roman win the Heavyweight Championship, which, let's be honest here, he did trash, so it's kind of hypocritical, but I still believe Roman Reigns winning is amazing for that championship. Then, and this is where I really think things should go, SummerSlam 2026, Roman versus Braun, and Roman loses to Braun, or just even WrestleMania. I really do believe that it should go Seth, Roman, Braun, and then Seth turning on Braun, or Braun turning on Seth, and Seth winning again, maybe. This could be something like that, or some, just whatever it might be. I think that's the route we should go with the faction, rather than it automatically finishing up in 1 year. But I also have to consider where the Royal Rumble is. Now, the Royal Rumble winner is going to be in Saudi. So if there's people that are Saudi high, Saudi low, gotta consider them winners. Roman's one of the superstars that Saudi loves. Could throw him in Saudi. Sammy's another one that would make a lot of sense as Seth is champion. I just have to believe that Seth versus Roman is going to be in the cards sometime. Is it just a grudge match at SummerSlam, or is it a championship match at WrestleMania? And I think they would go championship match. We know Triple H's booking's a long-term booking. Then, my main event at WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. There is no Roman versus The Rock here. I'm sorry, but I don't think The Rock is going to do anything. John Cena's not here anymore. I really do believe that Cody Rhodes, and this is what I'm thinking, Cody Rhodes will win the championship from John Cena. I'll automatically really see that at the end of the tour, or John Cena vacates it. There's a championship match, whatever, for it. Cody Rhodes wins it. I had this crazy booking, if you've been a part of the channel, that John Cena would vacate the title at his last match ever. The Royal Rumble would automatically, or would be, for the championship. Now, does that make Cody Rhodes win it? In this term, yes. I don't think that's the right choice if they would do that. I think automatically Cody Rhodes will get back the title, maybe from John Cena to save wrestling, maybe with underhand tactics to become the heel. So then we automatically get CM Punk winning Elimination Chamber to go after Cody Rhodes, which this is the main event of WrestleMania match that everyone wants to see. I really want to see this match. This is a WrestleMania match. People thought we were going to get it this year after John Cena or Punk looked like he was going to win the Chamber. This is it for me. Now, the reason why I don't have CM Punk winning Royal Rumble is because it's in Saudi. We already know Punk and Saudi is not really a mixture. He's been given hints that he's not anti-Saudi. Maybe that's because he might win the Royal Rumble or something like that. But I really do believe that Cody Rhodes, CM Punk is the match. CM Punk, huge babyface. Cody Rhodes, maybe a little heelish. And then ultimately Cody Rhodes probably losing to CM Punk here and giving CM Punk the title reign. That's my predictions. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.